Okay, we are starting with the Rolling Marble Momentum Lab Part 2. You should have already done Part 1. You want to start by reading through all the directions here, and then the procedure gives you step by step. Now, you're not going to be able to do the actual experimentation here, but if you follow the procedure step by step and then watch the video as we go along, all will be well. Okay, so you want to start by filling out your hypothesis and your variables and your constant. Once you've done that, we're going to flip to page 2. All right, so you see the setup here. So I've got my track set up. I've got my my angled ramp off my books, my cup at the end, and then I've got my tape measure set up to see how far it's going to roll. All right, so we'll start that in just a second. But let's go back to this page here. So you want to start by figuring out the speed. And remember, speed is distance divided by time. And then it's going to come out in meters per second. I don't know who was feeling generous that put all those terms in there for you already, but it must be your lucky day. All right. Now we're going to move on to part 2, the momentum of different types of balls. And we want to start by finding out the mass in grams of them. So I've brought my scale home here, and I've got my little plastic tray on top. So I need to make sure I set it so that it's at 0. Okay, we're at 0 right now. Now we're at negative 0.7. I'm not sure what's going on here. I hope I didn't bring home one of the ones that isn't working great. So we're going to start by measuring the mass of the marble. This is a metal marble. It's pretty heavy. So we've got a mass of 28.3. So I'm going to write that in right here, 28.3 grams. All right. Now I want to do the golf ball. Let it go back to 0. 45.6. So I'm going to write that in. 45.6 grams. And lastly, again, I don't have a ping pong ball, but I have that spongy golf ball that we had the other day. 7.4 grams. All right. All right. So now we want to figure out the velocity in meters per second. So if you go back to the directions, it is going to ask you, so again, what's velocity? How do we figure out velocity here? Well, that is, velocity is going to be, where are we going to find that? I know you're answering aloud here. That's speed. Right? Because velocity is just speed with direction. And right now we're not accounting for direction. So you're going to figure that out. You're going to figure out velocity. And then you're going to figure out the momentum. And they're telling you that momentum is going to be grams divided by the velocity, which is meters per second. All right. So right here you have your grams. You're going to have your velocity that you're going to carry down from up here. And then you're going to figure out the math. And then your terminology is going to be grams per meter per second. So just the way that's written here, that's how you're going to write it as well. All right. Now, what we want to do now is the test phase. And what we want to try to see is how far we're going to be able to get this cup to move when we roll the balls down that track, and what kind of effect mass is going to have on those things there. Okay? All right. So I've got my trusty assistant here, Juliana, who is going to do the rolling. And then my second trusty